About Trend Tuesdays. That's what we're here for, the now, the new, and the next in careers. And I look forward to hearing from you where you're joining from. And as you check in here, drop a note in the chat. So today we're going to be talking about what's going on in the space of online digital branding and what we need to be thinking about as digital branding transforms. So ChatGPT is one way that people are searching for things, but there's so many other new tools that people are using to do search. And of course, Google's going to get in the game with Bard and some of the tools that they're rolling out, but it's fundamentally changing the way that we look at a search. And we're going to look at a few examples here of what does it look like when you search versus what does it look like when you chat. And why does that matter when we're talking about finding data and when we're talking about building our own digital brand? So we're going to talk about some of that information today. I'm hoping that you can all hear me. Drop a note in the chat, say hello. Great, it's good to see you. Thank you, Stacy. Good to talk to you. Hi, Orinthia. Nice to meet you. Glad that you're joining us. So let's talk about an example of how search is changing. So I went on a little search because someone commented on my post today, which I love on LinkedIn. Thank you for engaging on the post, that Gen Z isn't on Facebook. I was like, I wonder if that's true, because if you've been following along, 1 in 3 people on the planet is actually on Facebook. Now, that's not the story here. We're not here to talk about LinkedIn versus Facebook. We're here to talk about how can our clients find a community where they can engage and really talk to people that will help them throughout their career. So we're getting past recruiters, right? We're talking about how can they talk to people inside their own organizations already, people that are in their industry, and people that might be in the target companies that they're searching for. So as I'm thinking about how can we help people build their visibility for search and also build community online, we are going to explore all of the avenues. And it's important that we challenge our assumptions. So I wanted to challenge this assumption that Gen Z isn't on Facebook. And it's just a great way to look at the difference between Google search and the new upcoming generative AI searches and how those are different and why the search game is going to change. So let's first look at my results when I was searching what is this demographic of Facebook. And you'll see that, in fact, Gen Z is on Facebook. They make up the biggest user group on Facebook, which surprised me. I wasn't expecting that. But Gen Z is on Facebook. Okay. But the real story here was that when I went to search for this information, as you go into Google, right, you get all of these things that you kind of have to poke through and figure out, is this what I want or not? Is this what I'm looking for or not? And you can see that Google is trying to get better at giving you some overview in their search so that you don't have to dig into every single link. And that will continue to change. But what we're seeing here is that when we use a search in Google or Bing or whatever, you get this long list of links that you have to poke through and read and poke through and find. Who has time for that? And now with new generative tools, you don't have to do that anymore. But doesn't mean you always get the right information. We do make sure that it is active. Yes, friends with a few Gen Zers on Facebook. Excellent. Thanks for sharing. I have many Gen Z colleagues that are also on Facebook, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But the real story here is when we go over to Perplexity. Now, Perplexity is Google combined with ChatGPT. So you get that generative response combined with the Google background. Google Bard is similar, but a lot of people don't have access to it, don't know where to find it. Bing Chat is similar. You can use Bing Chat, and Bing Chat will give you answers like this. I just went to Perplexity because it's in Chrome and I didn't want to have to switch browsers. But it will tell you right here, 32% of ages 13 to 17%. That's actually lower than I thought, or higher than I thought. So it wasn't actually looking at the right age group. I could be more specific with the age group and I'd get a better answer. Generation Z is not that age group, so this might be old data. I could be more specific with the age group I want and I could get better answer. But this gives you the answer right away instead of you having to dig through the links. So then I asked it, what percentage of Gen Z uses LinkedIn? And it told me that 20% of those people are using LinkedIn. So it gives me the links and it puts the numbers down here as well, but it actually gives me the answer. This is why generative chat is going to overtake traditional search, because it makes it easy for you to find the information. Unfortunately, it also makes it easy for you to access incorrect information or conflicting information. But you got that when you were sifting through the Google links anyways. You just had to sort through them. Here, you'll sort through them as well, or learn to ask the question better. Like I said, I could have asked the question of the age group instead of the generation, and then I would have gotten a better answer. As people learn to use these tools and ask the right question or ask a different question if they don't get the exact information they're looking for, we will start gravitating towards these tools instead of Google search. What does that mean? It means that the way you are found online is going to shift. It means there's more likely that people will find incorrect information about you on tools like this. So one of our board members, we were playing around with these tools at our last conference and in April, and it said that she lived in the wrong place and it, had incorrect information about her, because we aren't populating enough of what we do. This is part of why we changed the name of our class from social branding to digital branding a few years ago, because we could see this coming. First, it was coming with the applications that recruiters were using, where those applications would go search the entire web, find candidates, and then put them in the applicant pool. Wasn't just searching LinkedIn, right? They're searching all the web for our candidates. Now, generative search, very similar, searching the entire web for information about you, and it's going to spit it back out to the people that are searching. So how can we build a digital presence that makes us show up correctly in these areas? The first thing is we have to be clear on what we want to be known for, because your name may not be that unique, but if you compare it with what you want to be known for, then you will show up how you want to show up. So if your name is Jane Smith, right, then you pair that with project manager. Now it will be obvious when people see you that that's what you stand for. Second of all, you've got to be on platforms that are indexed. So having a platform on a social media that's not public won't do you any good. And you don't have to share your social stuff, because we're talking about having a platform that is specific to what you do. So that's getting on podcasts, if that's posting on LinkedIn, and especially LinkedIn articles, because those are indexed. Whatever it might be, where you can build your presence digitally, professional association websites, blogs. It really doesn't matter what the platform is, and it doesn't. In fact, it's maybe better if it's not social, because this is about building a library of information that says who you are and what you do. Of course, you can have your own website. That's great. That's not going to be as high up in the search results as these other platforms that have engagement. TikTok, YouTube, Pinterest, believe it or not, sites that are highly indexed in search are where we want to think about, how do we manage our digital brand? And for some of us, this may not be a big deal right now, but it will be as the majority of seekers move over to generative search. How will you be known? How will you be found? And what will it say about you are going to become more and more important. Now, as we combine these two ideas, so we've got this idea that chat is going to shift and we want to build our library of information about us so that we're found digitally. We also want to think about, where are the people that we want to build community with? And this is where I get a little frustrated, because we as career services providers focus so much on LinkedIn, and we are helping our job seekers miss out on opportunities. That's just the way it is. We tell them to network, to not just get stuck on recruiters. And then oftentimes when we quote why they should be on LinkedIn, we quote that that's where recruiters are. One, the data has shifted and that's not necessarily true anymore. And two, we just told them not to worry about recruiters. We want to help them find, where are the people that are going to help you access the opportunities. This might be private Slack channels. It might be Reddit. It might be YouTube. It might be TikTok. It might be Facebook. It might be Instagram. We, as the coach, have the opportunity to help our client do the research and figure out where it makes sense for them to build community. So if you're helping your job seekers use LinkedIn, drop a one in the chat. You're doing awesome. That's great. I'd love to hear those of you that are using LinkedIn. If you're using things that are beyond LinkedIn, drop that in the chat and let us know what other areas, what other platforms, podcasts, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be social. What other platforms are your job seekers using to build their visibility or build community? Because you can build community on a blog. If you are on there and you're commenting and you're engaging with other people that are also reading that blog, you can build community there. And then hopefully you can find out where else do those people hang out, whether that's, again, Reddit, Facebook, whatever it is, LinkedIn, wherever they hang out, that's where you want to be. Being on one platform is probably not enough these days. Most people are on 7 or 8. So this idea that they've told you that they can only be on one, they're probably hiding the fact that they're on 6 or 7 others because average is average, right? And when you're looking over billions of people, obviously there'll be people that do a lot more and there'll be people that do less. What I find is that usually we've asked people what social platforms are they using for their job search, or do they want to use for their job search? And we filter out from the beginning the opportunity to talk with them about other platforms because of the way we ask the question. What platforms do they use in their daily life? What platforms are they familiar with? Ask the question differently and see if you get different answers. Now, I started teaching this a while ago because it applied to me personally. So I was telling my husband, go LinkedIn, go on LinkedIn, go use LinkedIn. And he tried, he really did. And he came back to me and said, honey, my people are not on LinkedIn. And I said, oh, that can't be true, right? Let's go do the research. And what I found was that he was right. Don't tell him I said that. His people not on LinkedIn, engineers, product managers, engineering managers, they are not part of the active user base on LinkedIn. They have profiles. So yes, they're part of the 900 million people on LinkedIn. But I just saw new data actually when I was doing that research that only 170 million out of that 990 or whatever they boast are active on a daily basis. If your network is not there, you can't network with them. We have to help people find out where their network is. Now, some of you might have heard this story, so you might know, where did my husband find a network that is there every day, multiple pings on his phone by the time he wakes up every day? Where did he find that network? Facebook. There is a users group for industrial engines on Facebook. And technicians and people that use the machines that he develops product strategy for are on a Facebook group every day, multiple times a day. And he has found community there. And then I thought, well, okay, is this just his story, right? Then I've been teaching our job search classes, and we have recruiters in those classes all the time that want to now help job seekers with their job search. And they said they're recruiting people from Facebook groups every day. User groups, specific industry groups, alumni groups from companies. There are groups on Facebook where people are hiring people every day. I see it on my local community group where there's small businesses that don't have money to advertise that are in these community groups hiring people every day. So it's up to us as a job coach to help our clients do the research and find their community. The other place my husband's on every day, of course, is his internal Slack channel. Now, that's not necessarily going to help with job search, but it does help with building his community a little wider than the group that he works in, a little wider than, just his team, so that he has visibility and can position himself for a promotion or whatever it might be. So I want to widen our thought process around one, digital branding, going beyond social to podcasts and other things, industry conferences, industry blogs, whatever that might be, anywhere where we can build a relevant digital presence. And then I do want to broaden our scope when we think about social media to really exploring and having that approach of curiosity and open-mindedness. Where is the community that my client might plug into, or where might they learn about those communities so that they can get an invitation even if they're not going to participate in Reddit long term, maybe they can join a few of those discussion groups and find out where are the Slack channels or whatever other places that I should be connecting with so that I can build community. And as you can tell, this is a hot button issue for me, because especially as we get into more people being laid off and more people being out of work for a long time, we can help them get more momentum in their search by not putting on the blinders from the beginning and really thinking about how they can find those jobs. Yeah, so regular Facebook search, somewhat, but it's seen that most of my recruiters are using groups because, again, you can build community there. You can get people talking instead of just using the search. Discord, yeah, how are you going to find out about that private Discord group? You might be able to use some social channels to access it, maybe some search, maybe even Perplexity or one of those generative searches might do a better job of finding that than a traditional Google search. It's not fun people telling what they should be doing. Yeah, if it changes all the time. And it's keep an open mind and do the research versus thinking that we have to know the answer. And that's on us as a coach. We don't have to know the answer. Oh yeah, Reddit is running strong. Yep, Reddit is running strong. Probably even better than Instagram, or not Instagram. No, not Instagram. Better than Twitter at this point. So Reddit thread's still alive and well. Awesome. So thinking about how can we help people explore these other opportunities? How can we help them really consider it in a different way? So instead of now it being this, oh, I got to go there. I got to post on LinkedIn. No, I'm going to go to this Facebook group and engage with the people that are my people. I'm going to go to this Discord group and engage with the people that are my people. And it can be a little bit more organic and integrated into our world, therefore be more long-term and not just be something that we turn off and on like LinkedIn, which is part of the challenge with LinkedIn, is that people kind of turn it off and on and then they don't have it when they need it because they aren't continuing their community there. LinkedIn has made some moves to try to get groups back, but they were far too gone. I mean, nobody's there for most of it. If you can find a LinkedIn group that is engaged, awesome. Do the research, keep the open mind, see what your people can find. And then the goal, where are there people engaged and talking and responsive in your industry? Not just recruiters, although recruiters can be part of it, because we want them to build a community that they can maintain throughout their career, that can help them and they can help the other people in the community throughout their career. That's what makes it real and more engaging for everyone versus just being on LinkedIn trying to get there, but not finding the people to engage with. Do the research. Last week's video was on researching on LinkedIn so that you can see if their people are there. And then you can do the research on the other platforms as well and thinking beyond that. So if executives are your target audience, what do they do? Are they listening to podcasts? Are they on Reddit? And I would encourage us to not put executives in this box, right? Your average executive is a Gen X now. They're not a boomer. They're a Gen X. And we tend to have this very old white male definition of executive. You're limiting your target audience. You're limiting your client's target audience when that's the picture you have of an executive. Go see the data. Go look it up. What is it that really defines that for your client in their industry? Who is their target audience? So you can challenge those assumptions and find a place where you can connect with them. That's really the goal here. If you are a LinkedIner, and last week we talked a little bit about our LinkedIn quiz, goes through your content, your profile and the content you post, your connections, what are you doing to build connections and use it for research, and then your community, how are you using it to build community? So if you're interested in that, you can go check that out, that LinkedIn quiz. And then, of course, we're doing our digital branding class starting next Thursday, which is this loving, awesome community of professionals that get together and talk about how can we build a digital brand and how can we help our clients do that on LinkedIn, all the advanced features, and then on these other platforms, because we need to know how to help people on the other platforms as well. So we've integrated that into the class. So don't just sit around and wait to be found. How can you help your client build community so that they can achieve their goals? And I like to say, never job search again. That's a little bit aspirational, But if you build a community of professionals in your industry or your desired industry, and you learn how to do that, you really could never have to job search again, because you'd go to that community, you'd tell them what's going on, and you'd immediately have people who are not only aware of opportunities, but willing to help you because you've been in and active in that community for hopefully years by the time you need it. If not, you can start today, even if you're unemployed and job seeking, start today, finding those people and building that community. And it's very important to think about that as you're moving forward. Let me see if I can pop that quiz link in there. So that will show up on YouTube and Facebook. Unfortunately, it doesn't show up on LinkedIn. I'll go in and put that in there later. So we will talk about more social media stuff next week and kind of why the coaching piece is important and how we can help our clients get over the resistance to engage, the resistance to post, because it's not just about the how-tos. How to post on LinkedIn is simple. It's all of the ways we get in our way when we start to do that because we're afraid of being vulnerable about putting ourselves out there. So we're going to chat about that a little bit more next week. Here every Tuesday for Trend Tuesday Live. It is live. You don't have to register. You don't have to link, you don't have to RSVP at all if you don't want to. And you just share this link with the people that you think need to see it. And we'll be on our YouTube channel. If you want to subscribe to that, we'd love that. On our thought leadership, our career thought leaders page on LinkedIn and on our Facebook page. We'll see you all next Tuesday. Thank you so much.